Welcome to After Hours, Dagnabbit boys, where we're getting down and dirty.
Yeah, we're recording this at, I think, like 9:30, so we can cuss.
Yeah, we're allowed to cuss, and nobody can kick down the doors and say, hey, you're not allowed to do that, Bruce. Lenny. They call us Lenny Bruce, how late we be up cussing.
Yeah, we be up late as fuck cussing.
Yeah, late as ass cussing.
This is like when Nick at Night turns into Adult Swim.
Oh.
Or no, wasn't it Cartoon Network?
Cartoon Network turns into Adult Swim.
We're like super jail right now.
Oh, so I'm going to have to kill your ass.
Yeah, you are going to.
It's going to be very gory.
One of us has to die, and it has to be animated in a pretty crazy way. But yeah, this is the SRT podcast. This is the type of podcast that make you want to do drive-bys and act stupid, the type of podcast that make you want to call up your boys and get to it.
Yeah.
Pretty much shit like that.
All your favorite rappers love this podcast.
All your favorite rappers listen to this podcast because...
to learn what to do.
Because they bitches, they hoes, and they want to listen to real motherfuckers.
And they need to figure out some new stuff to rap about.
Motherfuckers, rappers listen to our podcast and
learn about new crimes.
I mean, that's pretty much stealing rhymes.
No, we're allowed. It's public domain.
Yeah, it's like we say bars, but then they just rap it, and they're like, oh, that's my shit. And it's like, that was my life.
They make it rhyme.
Like, they rhyme it, but we lived it.
Yeah. That's an unfortunate reality being a crazy-ass white boy.
I mean, I don't know. We just have a lot of beef with rappers like Young E and Ace and stuff. And I was at the Comedy Store. They said nobody knew him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they said nobody knew Young E and Ace at the Comedy Store.
Damn.
I know.
Yeah, I thought the Comedy Store would know who that is, but
they
only know who you and me are.
They only know who me and you are.
Yeah.
Because we're the realest gangsters in LA, pretty much.
Anyway, you have this new project you got working on. I think you talked to me about it yesterday. You've been fucking guys up the ass and then shaving their heads.
No, I've been shaving their heads and then fucking them up the ass. We were talking about this. Pretty much like the Comedy Store is like a comedy club.
Yeah.
So it's like a place where you want to be one of the guys you want to be in.
Yeah.
And pretty much like what happens is like a motherfucker like me who's a paid regular will just like see a young comic and be like, oh, what's up? And then you just take him into the manager's office. The liquor room, that block. Take him into the liquor room where the snacks are. And you give them a bag of Lay's chips. Then you just shave their head and fuck them in the ass.
Yeah.
But I only do that because we were talking, that's what happened. Like, that's the type of shit that was happening in high school.
Yeah.
When that crazy kid gets to be the hall monitor, he starts shaving people's heads and fucking them in the ass.
I do remember that guy.
Well, no, this bit actually started because we were saying, what if a kid came out as gay in high school, but then he started shaving kids' heads and fucking them in the ass forcibly in a broom closet, and then he's describing it like, yeah, man, being gay in high school was totally fine. I used to take kids in the broom closet, shave their heads, and fuck them in the ass. And people are like, wait a minute, what does that have to do with being gay? You're like,
I took the whole football team in the locker room. I shaved their heads. I fuck them up the ass.
The whole football team gay as fuck with shaved heads. If a motherfucker had a shaved head at my high school, I fucked him. That was my mark.
Yeah, if you fucked a shaved head, motherfucker, we Eskimo bros.
Yeah, and you know, haters be like, why are you shaving their heads? It's like, because they mine. That's why I'm shaving their heads.
You can ask me what the tattoo is about next.
Yeah.
You have no clue what the tattoo under their eye is about.
Yeah,
That's my property.
Why do you think a motherfucker has pig tattooed under his eye? Why the fuck do you think he has sea pig under his eye? Because he's a Cooper pig. That's who. Because he's mine. That's why the fuck he's got sea pig under his eye. A lot of motherfuckers with sea pig tats on their faces.
Basically everybody.
But that's why everybody's hating on me at the Comedy Store, just because I'm shaving motherfuckers' heads, tattooing their faces, and fucking them up the ass. And it's like, literally, this is why I got passed, so I could do shit like this.
Well, they hired you because of that. They hired you because you were willing to go there.
I pop outside and get stupid. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't hesitate. You know what I mean?
That guy got murdered on the patio. That was your fault.
I mean...
You told the ops where that guy was. When that guy got straight up murdered on the patio.
I mean, it's like, I didn't really have a side in the issue, but I knew he was somebody's op.
Yeah.
And I love when a motherfucker can slide, because the problem was, it wasn't that I hated him, I hated how much he was lacking.
Yes.
Like, I literally heard that motherfucker on the patio of the Comedy Store saying, this is a great night. And I was like, you cannot...
He said, Jeremiah Watkins is so funny. And then I was like, this guy's lacking.
I was like, and he is so funny, but the fact that he was able to enjoy comedy, I was like, you cannot be having such a good night when you got opposition. And I knew he had opposition.
You called up everybody in Slauson.
I mean, pretty much. Like,
yeah, you were just like, hey, do you know this guy? And you just you text him a picture.
And one of those motherfuckers was like, I actually do. That's my op. And I was like, please slide on his ass. Because this motherfucker is lacking. And I personally don't have a beef with him to slide on. He's not an op of mine, but like, he's kind of becoming one.
Yeah, with how much he's like enjoying himself at the Comedy Store.
Sometimes you just see a motherfucker and you're like, I know he got op. So if you see him lacking, you can just get him killed. You know what I mean? Like, I've been in Starbucks and just seen a dude like on a date and he was like, oh, I'm really connecting with you. And I was like, somebody needs to slide on his ass. Like, I mean,
you call up everybody in the east side of LA trying to find some ops.
If I see an op simping on a bitch, lacking hard as hell, I want a motherfucker to slide on his ass.
Yeah.
Because that's just how I came up. Like, first time I saw a dead body, I was young as fuck, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't get
3 years old.
Pretty much, like, it's my first memory. It's also my second memory. Yeah. It's my first 20 memories are just dead bodies. And by the 20th, I was like, oh, these aren't people, these are ops.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
With 20 bodies, you're like, I'm about to see so many bodies. These aren't even people. This is meat.
That would be cool if what, like, the U.S. said during a war where, like, they're explaining some attack in a foreign country and they're just like, they were ops. You have to understand it. They were the opposition.
They
so
start
we had
explaining O-Block.
Yeah, they were the opposition, so we had to get in position and slide on them. Essentially, Iraq is our O-Block. And, yeah, I mean, we're taking them out one by one. These are our ops.
They got, like, a big slide and King Von's on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, this is our inspiration.
A lot of people don't know, before King Von was killed, he was a 4-star general of the U.S. Army.
Oh, yeah, that's 100% true.
I mean, he didn't give a fuck about anything. That's just true. But I don't know. I mean, if you have ops, you can't be lacking. Just know if you're at the Comedy Store and you're lacking and I can tell you have ops, I will call your ops so they can slide on you because that's what you deserve.
And he can tell what neighborhood you're from. Like you can just look at a guy and be like, all right, I know what street that guy's from, what intersection.
You know how some people can like guess people's weight, like a carnival trick?
Yeah.
I can do that, but with hoods. Where like I'll just walk up to a motherfucker and I'm like, you are not from the 50s. And he's like, what? And I'm like, there's no way. And he gets real mad at me, and then 10 minutes in, you find out the motherfucker's from 68th. And you're like,
oh, Jesus.
Why are you even lying? Why are you not repping, you know,
Why aren't you repping 68th? Fucking Danny Trejo was 68.
So, you know, is that true?
I think so.
That's very funny. Yeah, let's both put in some zins. It's a late night cast. We both had eventful days. You want to talk about your day? You hung out with your mother and
mom
grandmother.
And
how was that?
Within 30 seconds of us getting onto the streets of Hollywood Boulevard, my mom, or maybe it was my Nana, made a joke about AIDS being on the street.
Well, do you remember the joke? Was it just simply...
she just, I think, said that there was AIDS, probably AIDS on the street.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny to be... How old is she, you think?
Probably in the 70s.
Yeah, so like in your 70s.
She's a very sweet woman.
I'm sure she's a grandma, you know?
Yeah.
But that's what's fun about grandmas is she's just driving around. You're like, what do you think of this, grandma? And she's like, there's AIDS on the street.
She wasn't even, I don't even think she was complaining.
No, it sounds more like
it was just a comment she dropped.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like if you were on a safari and you'd be like, oh, there's some elephant poop on the ground.
Yeah.
She's just kind of like, oh, there's some AIDS.
Yeah, that building's got AIDS.
She looked at a human and was like, that's AIDS. That man is AIDS.
We went to go see Beetlejuice. It was okay.
The new one.
Yes, the newest one.
It was okay.
It was okay.
Michael Keaton still Beetlejuice?
Yeah, and he still got it.
I mean, that guy.
He's still got it.
He's so good. Do you know
he's a genius.
You know he like started at the Comedy Store?
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
No.
Okay.
I don't think that shit's cool at all.
Him and Robin Williams, because
wait. Robin Williams started the Comedy Store?
Yes, he was also there.
That's badass.
Okay, that's weird. The first thing wasn't more interesting. Robin Williams and Michael Keaton were in an improv troupe together that would perform on Sundays in the main room because Mitzi wanted to have an improv troupe. Isn't that crazy that at some point you could see Michael Keaton and Robin Williams do improv together?
Oh, yeah.
Comedy sucks now. I mean, what? Like, comedy fucking sucks. I mean, there's a lot of great comics at the store, but like Michael Keaton, Robin Williams. Michael Keaton's so cool.
Yeah.
He's just the coolest guy. He was too cool to do stand-up.
I think his breakout role, he had some movie I've been wanting to watch. I think maybe he plays a mortician, and that was like his breakout role.
They call me the mortician.
Why?
Because dead bodies don't scare me. I deal with them every day.
That's really cool.
Because I'd be folding them up.
Yeah, but before I start this review of Beetlejuice, I did look up how old Jenna Ortega is. and it's okay for me to review the
Yeah, I
movie.
mean, she must be... How
She's
old?
21. So it's perfectly fine for me to make every single comment I had to make about the movie.
Okay. Who does she play in the movie?
The daughter of
Winona Ryder?
yeah.
Okay, and Winona Ryder is playing her character, but older?
Yeah, but let's not even talk about that. I just need to, before I start all these comments, I just want everyone to know, Jenna Ortega is of legal age.
Okay, I'm feeling like there's going to be a certain slant. There might be some bias in this review.
I just really only have one thing to say about it.
What do you have to say about it? Let's hear it.
Well, I just want to, eat her pussy till the cows come home.
Okay. Well, Jenna Ortega, if you're watching.
If you're watching the podcast, until the cows come home to get underneath this tongue.
Underneath, okay. Yeah, I guess that kind of.
You got until
I mean,
you got
more
right.
so
Wait. Let
more
me
so,
take
it's
the
just
time.
in front of the tongue. I feel like when you're eating a pussy,
No,
it's
not how
really...
I do it.
How is it underneath? You like pile drive while eating pussy?
I hold the woman up.
Even then, I feel like
hold
you
her
would
up.
still... Okay. Well, you would be below it. What you just showed is above.
Did I say below?
Most of the time, eating pussy is either straight ahead or you want her to sit
Never
on...
mind. I push the woman down.
Oh, no.
Until she's flat, like Stanley.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it's above.
Oh. Well, that seems like it would change the whole vibe. I mean, are they even able to come if they're like flat
Yes,
Stanley?
they come really hard. You know how like when a woman puts her finger up your ass while she's sucking your dick and you come and it feels much better?
So the female version of that is being flat Stanley'd?
Yes.
Okay.
But
So-
anyway, I'll let Jenna Ortega, whatever, shit in my mouth as soon as she turns 30. Because that's when women are hot. That's when women become hot.
So you're not attracted to her right now?
Not until she turns 30, which is the hottest age a woman can...
So you'd say like right now, physically you think she's attractive, but the concept of her being under 30 is kind of blowing it
It's
for
disgusting.
you? It's disgusting.
It's absolutely disgusting.
Because she's not...
Because of the age gap.
Because she's not... Well, you're 26.
I'm 20... Yeah, I'm 26, yeah. Turning 27 in 3 hours. 4 hours, so...
Is that true?
Yeah.
Your birthday's tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I had no idea.
Yeah, that's why my mom and my nana are in town.
Oh my gosh, that's so sweet. They flew all the way out for your birthday?
Yeah.
Wow. This truly is a business relationship.
I just didn't bring
You don't
up
really
my-
tell people about your birthday, I feel like.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. It's not important.
Well, I mean,
But
yeah.
basically, Jenna Ortega, I'm turning 27. I'm sorry, you're too young for me.
Do you have any?
Hit me up in like 9 years when you're the perfect age a woman should be, which is 30.
Do you have any plans for your birthday?
I'm gonna have to hang out with them. Probably tomorrow, get dinner. I don't know. I didn't really have any. I mean, my weekend, I'm working the whole thing, so I don't really. I could do like a birthday thing next week, probably. Like an actual birthday thing.
I mean, I could text all the boys, and if you're free after hanging with your parents, we could hang at a bar or something if you want.
I could do that,
Just so you have something to do. I mean, doesn't sound like you'll be alone. Also, sometimes it's fine to be alone if you want to, but we can do something for it,
I guess so, yeah. I didn't really think about that. I just figured I'd be busy all day
Right.
with that stuff.
Right. Well, you might...
But the important thing, we're missing...
I don't know how
past
much
the-
fun you'll be having if you're just with your mom and nana, because you seem a little stressed about it. So maybe after that day, if you wanted to hang out for a couple hours, we could go to...
I'm
Mr. Furley's.
I'm going to the... I'm going to go see The Substance on Thursday.
Okay, well, you got that going for you. But tomorrow, your night's free.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I mean, you let
But-
me know. I can send a text to a group chat, so you don't even have to do it.
Okay.
Because all of our friends are alcoholics, and we'll go to a bar at any night, and they all love you. So
I just want Jenna Ortega to know, when you turn... Next time you take a shit, don't wipe your ass until you turn 30.
well, even if you're into shit, why would you want that to happen?
I'm not into shit.
She's going to take a lot of shit. It's not like she's going to take one shit, then not shit till she's 30. It's going to be a lot
She's
of...
an actress. She probably only takes like one a year.
I don't think so. She might shit a lot. She might have a fibrous diet.
Yeah.
I mean, she's probably healthy. Like usually actors have trainers and stuff, so she probably has a decent diet. She's probably shitting like once a day, to be honest. I mean, I hope they're not like starving her still. I feel like they should have figured out diets enough to let actors eat, but maybe not. I don't know. I mean...
But it's so disgusting she's 21 years old and I'm 27.
What's disgusting? The age gap?
There's just an unfortunate age gap.
And that's why it won't work.
It would never work.
Yeah.
I mean, we would have nothing to talk about.
Yeah, well, you haven't met.
Yeah.
You got to remember that part. You don't know each other. She's one of the most famous people of all time, and we have a podcast with 20 subscribers. So there's a lot of other reasons it wouldn't work. Not even wouldn't, but just at the moment, it's not even a thing. So I feel like you have so many worries about this relationship, and I would just, you don't have to.
I see her in a bar, right?
Okay.
I slide up.
Once again, that's going to be hard. She probably has bodyguards, and she's definitely not alone. So think about that.
I slip the bodyguards $20.
They make a lot of money.
I say, let me alone with the little lady for a sec.
They would not. It's like the one thing they can't do is to let you alone with the person. Let you alone too. I mean, not even just say, "Hey, can I talk to her?" To be like, "Let me get out of here."
Yeah, guys.
Okay, so
I'm trying to hit on.
In your fantasy, you slip the guards a 20. You're now alone with Jenna Ortega. You're not alone. You're in a public place talking at a bar, but you have some space with her to speak. So how do you open up?
I say, "Hey, I'm 27 years old. How old are you?" She says 21, and I go, "God damn it!" And then I walk away.
And then you walk away.
And then she remembers that until she turns 30. Then we run into each other again.
What if you don't run into each other?
It's gonna happen.
Okay. There's a comic who's been posting a lot of crazy stories about famous women, and he's pretty much just doing your bit, but like seriously, he like thinks they're seeing it. So that's pretty sick. All of the bits we do are like real people. And I
wait.
No, don't. We're not gonna say who it is. We're gonna. I
don't want to say who it is, but I don't know who it is.
Okay, perfect. So we can move on. That's all we need to say about it. But okay, so
yeah, Mikey.
So the one thing we know about your day with your mom and your nana is that you want to eat Jenna Ortega's shit. Was it good to see them? Are they doing well?
They're not very happy about how I want to eat Jenna Ortega's.
Did you say that to them when you got out of them
through the whole movie? How
do you talk with your mom and your grandma? Do you have a good rapport?
No,
is it just sort of
it's all business, we're just like, hey, we're related.
Yeah, is it just sort of a regular family thing?
Yeah, it's all family.
Like you don't necessarily have stuff in common, but you
we do have the family in common.
You definitely have that.
So there's always that. We always have my grandfather in common.
Do you guys talk about your grandpa mostly?
We talked about, my mom told me a story about my grandpa. So my aunt, who's a crackhead, has to do mandatory rehab because she was supposed to do daily drug testing or something, and she failed.
Yeah.
And my mom asked, like, why does Janessa need to, or why does my aunt have to do like drug testing every day? My grandfather's like, she got a speeding ticket.
How does that work? Was she on probation, I guess?
No, I think he's confused.
It sounds like she got a DUI.
I think she just told him that, and I don't know.
He's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, his brain's all fucked up from, doing meth like 10 years ago, so.
It's still pretty fried.
Yeah, ever since that, he's never been the same.
What is the difference? Like, how was he before? How is he now?
He was kind of similar, but I don't know. Now he's just so fucking slow and fucking... It's just like, it's not all there.
Like, just the connections.
Yes.
They're just, yeah. Is that scary?
That he's probably dying?
Well, no, not necessarily. I'm not trying to say, like, are you scared your grandpa's dying? I'm just saying that, like, you can do that to your brain, where you're just like, oh, this is like a physical thing. There were physical connections.
Yeah.
I burned those connections off.
Yeah.
So now I got to make new ones, but it's like not as good at making new ones, and it kind of just stops making new ones. So you're just sort of like, you're just fried.
Yeah, I guess with how I'm aging, eventually that might happen to me.
No, I mean, you don't do meth. Let's remember the thing that changed your grandpa was...
The grandpa did do meth.
Meth use.
They did a prostitute.
I mean, you don't drink. That's really great for your brain. Long-term drinking's terrible for you really don't do any drugs. You're pretty much fully sober.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
I don't smoke weed.
All you got to do is just maybe, like myself, just work a little more on mindfulness and stuff, and then you'll have...
I need to work out more. I need to get buff.
I think you're doing... I mean, you've already started working out a little more.
I haven't been able to work out ever since I got this job.
Yeah.
It's been like... Because it's just consumed my fucking... days.
Yeah.
Know?
Yeah.
So I've been eating like shit again, and it sucks.
You eating before work or after?
Before and after. So it's not good.
Yeah.
And I only eat like once a day.
Yeah.
Which is not good either.
Yeah, you got to try and force yourself to eat when you wake up. If you can wake up like around noon with that job, that's like decent. And then if you can try and eat before or during work so you don't eat after, and then you stop yourself from getting fast food. And usually when you get fast food, you get a caffeinated drink, which keeps you up more. Yeah. That job fucked up that's why I was telling you, like, yeah, the only things I would suggest are just trying to like bring food to work or eat before work, because I've been eating like before I go out for spots now. And it's a little easier because my nights start later than at work, but it definitely changes a lot.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have an issue where I rush myself so much, but today I stopped myself from rushing myself. Like I had to get to this new job at 11, and I did yoga and meditated before. And there was that part of my brain that's like, you got to get up. And I was like, no, I totally have the time for this. And then I just did it, and it's like so much less fucking angry than I'd usually be.
What did you do today, like work-wise?
So, yeah, I started this new job. I work for a fundraising company that works for charities around the world. So pretty much I'm one of the guys on the streets with the clipboard trying to get you to donate to shit. Today was my first day, and I realized that my fears were correct, which is that I am a weird-ass dude.
Yeah.
And, like, me saying what's up to on the street is fucking crazy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because, like, the person I was with was like, I mean, they've been doing it longer, obviously. I was like training with them, so they're like good at it. But like, just like when I would walk by people, like, because, you know, people walk by and you don't start with the pitch. You just say like hi, or you compliment them.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have a badge, so I was just a guy on the street. So people would walk by and I'd be like, hey, I like your bag. And they'd be like, what? Like,
yeah.
I got 3 people to stop and they were cool. But I mean, to keep this job, I have to get like a couple donations a day. And I'm very bad at like getting money from people.
Yeah.
Like I could never do it when I worked at the Comedy Store for other stuff. Like just asking people for money is always just feels like fucking impossible. And I don't know. It's also like, I was talking about gun violence. So like you're just walking down the street and I'm like, hey, what's up? You want to talk about gun violence? And I look like a fucking school shooter. So people are just like, what is going on? So I don't know. I got like 3 people to stop. There are parts of the job that I'm good at. Like I don't mind rejection, obviously, with stand-up. I was able to like memorize the script they gave me.
Yeah.
Like I'm good at aspects of it. And I care about like the certain issues that we're, I guess, fundraising for. So like all that stuff is good. But I'm definitely not going to quit the job. I would not be surprised if I do not pass the evaluation by just not getting donations. Because like you get a base pay. So it's not like your pay is based off like commission or anything, but you're keeping the job is based off your performance. So you got to get like you got to get like 2 donations a day. And it's like a fucking 7-hour shift. So it's a lot, but it's also like the ratio of people that are actually going to stop and talk to you. And then the people who do stop that are actually going to give you money.
Yeah.
And it's like a monthly subscription. So it's like, I don't really see this job. I don't know if I'm going to be able to actually do this. I'd like to because I need a fucking job.
Did you like ask anybody anything and then you just slowly realize they're insane?
No, I was on the west side, so it was all just like normal people.
Oh,
you know what I mean? It's just like nice folk who, you know, I mean, the thing with the west side is it's interesting. It's like they have money. I'd say they're all Democrats, but they're very much like California Democrats where it's like, oh, no, I'll vote for Kamala, but I don't want to fucking donate to, you know what I mean? Where it's like, okay.
Gun violence.
Yeah, they're like, oh, I don't actually give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I like appetizers, you know? But I'm wondering, like, I feel like I could do the job better if I was more comfortable. Because it's like, I'm good at, like, I'm good at talking to people in like a stand-up sense. I'm not saying I'm good at stand-up. I'm just saying like I understand that of like I can say shit to people and not worry. But it's like it's almost opposite things where it's like I can say something kind of wild and not worry about what people think because I think I can convince them with jokes to laugh a little. Mm-hmm. But with this job, it's like you can't just be too wild. And if somebody thinks you're crazy, they're probably not going to give you money.
Yeah,
so
you can't be like, knock, knock, who's there? Gun violence. It's coming for you.
Yeah, I saw this dude in a cookie sweater, that weed company, and I didn't say it, but I wanted to be like, hey, nice sweater. You like smoking? And he's like, yeah, and be like, people are getting smoked in America. People are getting smoked. I think it would have worked, honestly, because he was a chill-ass young dude. But I don't know. It's like if you get the job, it's a good job. There's benefits, $20 an hour. Like I made some money today. That's why I'm not going to quit, because even if I get fired, I still am going to get like fucking 6 days of work out of this.
Yeah.
That will help me pay rent.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to fucking go.
Yeah.
But I was with my partner and they were like, how are you liking the job? And I was like, I mean, it's cool, but I think I'm like a pretty off-putting guy.
Yeah.
Like I'll say that, The person I was with was like a young, very extroverted trans person, and they were talking about trans rights. So they were like, yeah, I mean, it's really hard for people to say no to me, because if I say like, hey, do you want to hear about trans rights? And they say no, they're essentially saying, I don't want to hear about your rights.
Yeah.
But then if it's just me, just like a white dude,
do you think that's why they gave you gun violence?
I don't know why I got gun violence. There's a lot of issues that this charity covers. It's not just gun violence. It's a human rights organization. I won't say the name, obviously, but it's a human rights organization. They have multiple issues. And yeah, people are saying like,
the UN.
It is the UN. People are saying, I work for the UN, actually. I'm on the UN General Security Council, actually. It's me, China, Russia, France, and Germany. But
China, Russia, France, Cooper, Germany.
Yeah, I'm there. I have veto power. I've been vetoing shit late. What if I was in the UN and it was like a big issue with our podcast where I was like, I can't record this week. I have to go to Munich. Or where's the UN? Somewhere there. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to keep the job, because it's like, honestly, it's not, as a job, it's not bad. It's like you're just chilling outside of a business. Time kind of flies.
Yeah.
You go to lunch, you come back, you're like, all right, that was 30 fucking minutes. And then you're just fucking out there. And like the person I was working with, like sometimes people don't walk by. So you're just like fucking kind of chilling on your phone or whatever.
Yeah.
So like it's chill. The only part is you just have to be able to get donations from people.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to a few people, but I don't know. Once I talked to people, I was flubbing my words. I was like, hey, I'm out here with gun violence. You want to hear? And then people are just like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like,
this guy got a stutter?
Yeah, I was, you're giving nervous energy. And it's also just tough, because it's like somebody's going throughout their day, and then you got to be like, gun violence is the number one cause of child death in America. And then you got to talk about like, there's like cool stuff. It's like, it's not a bad sell. It's just the only problem is it's just like you tell people this stuff and they agree with it. And then you're like, we need a small monthly donation. And there's just something weird, because it's like, this charity is like grassroots. They don't get any government funding. They don't have political affiliation. So like, it's kind of what you would like in a charity, where you're like, oh, damn, like all the power from this charity is just from the people who are in it. You know what I mean? Like all these people, when they bring legislation to Congress, they're able to be like, 2 million people support this, which is sick, because, in America, it's like you're going up against like the NRA and shit. So if you have another lobby with a large group of people, it's really cool. So it's like you tell them that kind of stuff, but either way, you have to ask them for like $15 a month.
Yeah.
And there's just always something that feels so wrong about that. Even if what I'm asking for is like literally pretty transparent, like a good organization that like does good work. It's just still very hard. There's also just something weird with like specifics get people more excited than human rights.
Yeah.
Like, which makes sense, because like nobody's necessarily like, I'm a human rights guy, but people will be like, I'm a gun guy or whatever.
Yeah.
But I would love to talk to a gun owner. I feel like that would almost be an easier pitch,
Have you thought of like saying that your child was killed by gun violence?
I did say that I had 7 children. They all died from gun violence in different mass shootings, and people were like, really? And I was like, yes. Yes. And they were like, how old are you? And I was like, 25. Why does that matter? And they just wanted to give me money after that. And I was like, I mean, I'll take it, so I made like $1,000 today.
Oh, that's sick.
It's tough.
Isn't it weird when somebody thinks you're weird but they think you're weird in a way you're not weird?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like me and you will get that a lot, because like we are just sort of, I'm just so open about who I am at the time that I am that person.
Yeah.
Which I'm okay with, because it's like, yeah, well, I consider this all as a process. But a lot of people are like, oh, that's who you are. And you're like, well, it's who I am right now. I'm 25. I have anger issues. I want to kill myself. These are things I'll just talk about because it's true.
Yeah.
But then people are always like, you shouldn't talk about that. And you're like, yeah, but like, I'm going to be somebody different in a year and after that and after that. So I'm fine to tell you about where I'm at now.
Yeah.
But I mean, in terms of our business, it's not a good idea. You're supposed to be stable and the same, you know, you need to have a brand. Not even your hair is supposed to change, you know?
Oh,
so
yeah.
let alone like,
I feel like I get annoyed sometimes if I get like somebody being like saying like the serial killer or mass shooter type of weird.
yeah,
When it's like,
totally.
no, I'm a specific type of weird to where I grew up. Like I'm a type of weird that only really exists in the Southeast.
Yeah, there's definitely a Southern aspect to your disposition.
And I feel like people that don't know that kind of just throw the school shooter thing where it's like, no, this is a whole different thing.
Yeah, I mean, I get school shooter and it's just like, no, I'm just like kind of a judgy cunt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like a guy whose dad showed him too much poetry. I went to art museums. Like, this is how we act too. I'm also just have anger issues. But yeah, like the mass shooter thing is so funny because it's like mass shooters don't go around saying the wild shit I say.
Yeah.
Like I like you and I trust people like you because I believe what you say because you're just honest about your past and your present or whatever. But yeah, sometimes people will be like, "Oh, that means you're crazy," and you're like, "I'm telling you everything." Though.
Yeah,
it's like it's all here, and I would imagine most people share a lot of these thoughts, but they just don't say it because it's like,
well, I'm not trying to not be off-putting.
Yeah, that's never been
kind of the thing. That's the honesty there. Even though I don't like off-putting people,
right?
But it's like I can't really help.
But people think that when you're not trying to not be off-putting, that you are trying to be off-putting.
Yes.
And I understand that. And I think sometimes you can almost do it by accident. I'll do it by accident, I mean. But like there's really an extent to where it's like, no, I'm not trying to make you think I'm crazy. I'm just not lying to you about who I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like even today, like I was with like the fundraising partner and they were like, you in a relationship? And I was like, no, not right now. And I was like, I mean, but, you know, I'm like a pretty bad partner. So it's like probably fine. And they were like, oh, you don't got to be so negative. I'm like, well, I mean, I'm 25. I got pretty fucked up emotions. I don't think I'm like a stable, you know, it's like, that's not even, sometimes people will be like, oh, that's negative. And you're like, hey, is it? You know what I mean? Like, it seems almost delusional to be like, of course I'm a good partner. I'm a mentally ill 25-year-old man, you know, it just seems dumb. But
I had a weird flub up on my first day at the Comedy Store, because one of the paid regulars saw my set when I auditioned and was like, yeah, there's this trans guy who was just talking about his dick the whole time.
Nice.
How big his dick was.
Nice.
Yeah. And I remember I was kind of complaining about it, and it sounded like, because it's like my thought process on it is it's like, it's not that I don't want to be trans, it's just that I don't want people to think I'm something that I'm not.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure. Did you talk to that paid regular?
No. I talked to...
Do you think they still think you're trans?
I don't know.
You know what?
I don't really even get it, because I don't, like... And it was another thing that annoyed me. It's like, oh, because I'm short.
One time a older paid regular brought me up as a they, them. And I think it's just because I'm like bi or something. You find that older people who kind of refuse to understand like queer subtleties are the ones that will just call people trans the most.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't get it. And it's like, well, because you're just firing from the hip. You know what I mean? Like nobody does that. Like nobody acts that way.
But anyway,
it's just you choosing to think things.
But the way I flubbed up is I was just talking about like I don't want to be trans if I'm not trans. And I said that in front of Mandy, who's they, you know, they have they got they them pronouns, you know, their gender, what is the word? And I was like, I don't want them to think that I like fucking think like trans people are lesser or something. It's just that I'm not something, and I don't like people thinking that I am something when I'm not it. You know?
Yeah, I mean that's exactly how trans people feel.
Yes.
So I don't think they would have any issue with that.
Yes.
I mean that's also the thing is like there's not that really you're doing this, but in general, especially from older people, there's an assumption that trans people are like extremely sensitive, you know?
Yeah.
And it's always this assumption. It's the same thing where people assume like Palestinians are sensitive. And it's like, no, people that go through stuff are the least sensitive about the whole thing. They're the best people to talk to about it. It's like the most sensitive about this are like right-wing transphobes. They're most sensitive about trans issues. You talk to a trans person, they're always like, yeah, I get it. It's confusing. Like, you think it's not confusing for me?
Right-wing transphobes are sensitive to the idea that somebody might be sensitive.
Yes.
They think people are like, because I don't think I've ever...
They don't give people a chance.
Like, I've never accidentally, like, called a non-binary, said like he or she about a non-binary person and got like scolded.
No, it's like
It's
fake.
never happened.
It's a fake idea. It's a fake. I remember like I was talking to these guys and they were like, yeah, like trans people, they'll like freak out on you if you get your pronouns wrong. And I was like, do you hang out with a lot of trans people? Because like I've never had that happen. They're like, oh yeah. And I want to be like, all right, I have to imagine you were being an asshole. Like,
Yeah.
because most of these issues are not like queer issues. They're just general issues of rudeness. And it's like, if somebody doesn't understand somebody's pronouns, that is okay. It's just not okay when the person's like, well, how the fuck would, and it's like, that's when you're going to get pushback. It's
Yeah.
like, no, you were acting just like a dick. These are normal social rules. Like, sure, the substance is new to you or whatever, but the same rules apply where it's like, you know, it's the same as if you called like somebody whose name is Diana Deanna and then they corrected you and you were like, how am I supposed to? Like, of course, then they're going to fucking be like, well, fuck you.
I got a text from a guy I grew up with like maybe a year ago. And he said, I finally met one of those non-binary people and they were like really cool. And then they, you know, they sent that text. And the next text was, yeah, I'm pretty sure that stuff's real.
Yeah, I mean, why would they not be cool?
Yeah.
There are people that don't give a fuck about the gender binary. It's like there are people that have said, oh, this ingrained tradition I think is fucking stupid. So there are obviously people that are like, you know, a little punk about, you know what I mean? Like they're just kind of like, yeah, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like they're able to say fuck it to stuff. They say fuck it to shit more than you do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like all the people that are fucking mad at non-binary people, they're like, oh, well, that's all fake. It's like, well, think about your beliefs. Like most of them are like religious beliefs given to you by your parents that you adhere to due to social pressure. And then they talk about like queer people and they're like, well, they're only doing it because that's the young thing to do. It's like, well, you're doing it because you grew up in a Baptist community where the church is the center of the community. And if you aren't Baptist, then you're ostracized from your community. And you don't have the courage to even question that belief because questioning that belief could mean losing social status.
Yeah.
So you're doing it for social status.
Yeah.
And you're
They're doing
proclaiming
it for the old bit. They're the old bitch.
I mean, like, truly, it's like they just don't want to make their fucking grandma sad, and so they live in bad faith. And then they look at other people who have made a decision to go, okay, I grew up with the gender binary. It doesn't work for me. I'm going to say fuck it to that. And they're like, oh, well, they're just fucking going with the flow. And you're like, it's the very opposite of what they're doing. Like, it's so obvious that the gender binary is the mainstream accepted belief.
Yeah.
So obviously, anybody going against that is not going with the flow, trying to fit in. You know what I mean? And it's like, and no young person fits in any more or less by being non-binary. Like with young people like us, when we meet non-binary people, that's just one thing about them.
Yeah.
Nobody's like, oh, so you're cool, you know?
Yeah.
And anybody doing that just has a complete misunderstanding and like, you know, almost victimization of queer people. Like that's also a gross thing to do. Like if you're too much of like, oh, that's awesome, you know, like it's not awesome. It's just who they are. You know what I mean? Like it's only awesome in the way that they're being the person they want to be. But it's, I notice it's such a flipped issue because it's like, it just seems like all the sensitivity is from this side of people that have never met anybody that's not like cis or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're truly so afraid of them and they won't talk to them. And then they're always like, well, they're not open for discussion. It's like, what would you do if you met a non-binary person? You would probably immediately get defensive and be like, oh, so you probably think. It's like you would come up with all your
or
fucking...
you just wouldn't know.
Or you wouldn't know. Like
you would have no clue. They wouldn't bring it up, probably.
Yeah, I mean, that's also the thing is like if you meet a non-binary person, they don't just show up like, hey, I'm non-binary. You know what I mean? Like they'll just
it's like, this is my ID.
Yeah, I
This
mean,
is my non-binary ID.
as far as I can tell, for the most part, when non-binary people meet,
This is my slime. You know how we have slime?
like if a non-binary person meets like somebody and they're really only going to meet them for like that one night, they're not opening up on like my pronouns are, you know what I mean? Like maybe at one point if they're, honestly, I feel like it's only a result of like if you're really having a good time with somebody, getting close to them. Like if you're having a good night, eventually they might be like, oh, by the way, like I'm they, them. And then you're like, oh, cool. You know what I mean? Like it would kind of come up that way. I feel like that's usually how I've been told pronouns is like becoming better friends with somebody and they feel comfortable with you and they think that you'll like honor their pronouns is when they'll be like, oh, hey, just so you know, because like that's just what you do when you meet people. You know what I mean? It's like there's certain things you kind of always tell people that you like or want to be friends with. But
Yeah.
why would you say that to a fucking stranger who you're never going to see
Who has
again?
a beer gut and a trucker hat.
Yeah, I mean, these people act like non-binary people walk into a Love's truck stop and they're like, before I buy anything, you must know. Like, no, they're going to fucking buy a Snickers and leave. Like,
They're going to buy a Snickers and then go into the bathroom, and then you're going to go fuck them with the ass and shave their head.
that's all that's going to happen.
That's
you know
all
what I mean?
that's going to happen.
Yeah, it's also just, I don't know, like just worrying about it. And it's so funny because all the states with like bathroom laws, it's just like all the people worried about those are like small communities with 0 trans people in them. And they're just like, we got to make sure our bathrooms are okay. It's like, yeah, do you?
I guess the point, though, is to keep trans people that live there in the closet.
Yeah, definitely. It's fear and intimidation. I mean, because that's a thing where it's just like, okay, so if like somebody is like a trans woman, so they were born biologically a man, but they're a woman, they're a trans woman. They look like a woman. You want them going into the men's restroom? Do you feel more comfortable with that? And those people would say no. And so the answer is, okay, so there's nowhere for them to go, so you don't want them to exist.
Yeah.
And that's always the real answer to all these things. It's like, I just don't want them to exist. And once a group of people exist and you want them not to exist, then you're just talking about killing a bunch of fucking people. That's all you're talking about. And that's a problem. And this is where right-wing people say that, like, you know, liberals like our fag asses are being, you know, crazy. But it's just like, no, what is the end of your logic?
Yeah.
What is the end of this bathroom logic? Because a bathroom is only just a microcosm for the world you want to create. And it's a world with no trans people. But trans people exist. So you're either going to tolerate them or you want them all dead. So what side are you on? And most of the time, they're completely unwilling to be like, well, I want them all dead.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to fucking convert back. You know what I mean? Like
crypto-fascist?
What is that? Yeah, what's a...
That's like a person that holds fascist views, but they hide it because it's socially unacceptable.
So that's just like everybody you talk to now?
Yeah.
It's just like practically fucking everybody?
Yeah, so all the guys who are basically like, I don't want to kill them, but I don't want them to exist.
Yeah, I mean, that's like really the most insidious thing. I mean, that's like kind of what... That's like somewhat, I feel like, of what MLK was talking about with the white moderate.
Yeah.
Where he's like, racist, we know they're racist, but you have to worry about these Democrats who, it's like Joe Biden, who's like disavowing, you know, peaceful protests on college campuses. It's like, that's dangerous because they try and maintain a status quo. And the status quo is always more dangerous than anything. You know what I mean? Like, the status quo is people dying in Gaza with, you know, military, like U.S. military weapons. That's the status quo. What's not the status quo is like fucking January 6th. That was nothing. That was a freak. You know what I mean? That meant nothing to the country. That didn't do anything. And that was still a break from the status quo. But it's like the status quo is the continuation of all these horrible fucking military industrial, all that bullshit is what the white moderate keeps in check. You know what I mean? That's what, like, you know, and then they're not all white. Kamala serves the same function. You know what I mean? And that's also a criticism of the Dem party of just like, well, sure, it's a black woman, but she also locks up more black women in California history than any DA ever.
Yeah.
So it's like,
did you see the what's the guy's name? Coates. His name's something Coates.
Who's he?
He's like a guy who wrote about racism, and then he's talking about Palestine now.
Okay.
And talking about how like Kamala, he doesn't, just because she'd be the first black woman and first like South Asian woman, it's still going against what all the civil rights activists fought for, to just agree to fucking bomb people in Gaza.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at like the policy,
yeah,
it's the same. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, yeah, that's the problem, and that's where you realize it's like a class and just like a campaign finance issue more than anything. It's like, yeah, no person of any color, if they're backed by the groups that these candidates are backed by, is going to do anything different.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, people say it before, but it's like when you vote for a politician, you're voting for a group of corporations and interest groups, and you should find out what those corporations and interest groups are, because that's actually what the policy is going to be. You know what I mean? But it's crazy how much they lie. I mean, even with Trump saying he's going to end the Ukraine war before he's in office, Putin has specific demands that Trump has already said he's going to say no to. So right off the bat, Putin's winning this war. He has no reason to concede anything.
Yeah.
He has literally no reason to give any concessions. They're going to win this war. They won the war from day fucking one. We've just been wasting time jerking our dicks off, acting like, oh, it's fucking beautiful. No. They're going to lose land. Putin's not going to take all of Ukraine, but they're going to lose those 4 O blocks. We talk about the O blocks. They're going to lose that. They're going to keep Crimea. And if fucking Ukraine doesn't agree soon, then they're just going to lose more and more money and more people are going to die. They should have agreed to Putin's demands fucking years ago because the war has been lost from the very start. There's just no way they win. Ukraine can't beat Russia unless the U.S. gets involved, and fuck that. So it's like, you hear Trump say that, and it's just like, how can any like right-minded person believe that? It's fucking ridiculous. You know what I mean? And it's like, you talk about Israel, Palestine, it's like they're funded by the same fucking interest groups. They're gonna do the same thing. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, I mean, I've said this too many times, but at least geopolitically, any fucking political candidate you vote for, either side of the system, they operate the same way. They're liberal hegemonists. Trump is not, because he's a nationalist. That's like the one good thing about Trump is he doesn't fuck with going into other countries. But then again, he can't fucking fix our problems. He can't solve Ukraine. He can't solve Israel, Palestine. So kind of who gives a fuck if he doesn't want to go to war?
Yeah.
You know? But I don't know.
I wanted to talk about, I watched, I had to do, for HR, I had to do diversity. I had to watch the diversity training today. And it's like all the people in there are the hottest people you ever seen in your life.
Really?
Which is crazy. Like all the actors they hired.
Nice.
I remember at one point, it's like, you can pick on any of these people to hear their story. And I just picked on the hottest chick.
That's good.
Yeah. And it's like, I feel like you're doing diversity, but you can't have some ugly people in there.
Yeah, they should have a diversification of some fives. And
yeah.
Well, I think that would really drive the point home.
Yeah, where it's like, oh, there's all these hot people. Am I supposed to be jerking off to this diversity video?
Yeah, show me 5 ugly people, then I'll choose who I want to talk to. That'll be an honest decision. It'll be really based off their character. But at this moment, we got 4 8s and a 9. I'm choosing the 9.
Yeah, I'm choosing the hot chick.
So well, what did you? So you can stare at her. What did you learn?
Nothing.
Yeah,
I didn't learn anything.
I just feel like all those trainings are really interesting because they're just made for bad guys, and idiots, because they're just like, so if you're in work and a lady's black, you can't ask her if she was born in Africa. And it's just any normal person's like, yeah, I wasn't gonna, you know what I mean? Like, I had to do that for my new job, and they were just like, yeah, so you can't sexually harass people that work here, and you're just like, oh, no way.
Are you allowed to harass the people on the street?
It's like
I'm on the street.
It's like rules.
Where people get harassed.
It's like rules for criminals where you're just like, well, I don't sexually harass people outside of work, so this probably won't be an issue for me. You know what I mean? They're also just like, yeah, you can't steal from work, and you're like, oh, damn.
Yeah, bummer.
But then you realize all of those, all those rules exist just because somebody did it.
Yeah, it'll be funny. I haven't watched the sexual harassment one, but it'll be funny watching the people fucking up, because they always have videos of like acted out people fucking up.
Yeah.
So that'll be funny.
Yeah. Yeah, just a guy being like, I went on a date last night. Then some guy named Stewart's like, did you put out?
Did you pop the pussy?
I mean, that's like what we're talking about with like all like the gender stuff, is it's not even like specific rules to those things. It's just generally, what would a normal person do? Not even a good person, just a normal person who lived a normal enough life. What are they going to do? It's just very funny, though, that it's like, I guess those people exist where it's like a guy gets a new job and he's just like, ooh, I'm going to grab that girl's ass. And you're like, damn, what a sick person. You know, like at that point, what is the diversity training going to do? I guess I wonder that. It's like, if a guy was going to sexually harass people at his work, do you think he'd watch that video and be like, shit?
This is banned?
I thought it was allowed. I thought I could do that.
My favorite part of the diversity video was when there's this guy who was in the Marines, and it asks you, like, what should you do to, have a better relationship with your coworker that's in the Marines? And then
Did you kill somebody? Did you kill somebody? Did you kill somebody?
Well, yeah, it gives you 4 options, and then the last one is ask detailed questions about their service, and that's the wrong answer, right?
Okay. I mean, I feel like there's a polite, what if you asked about, like, what they ate? That's a detailed question. Yeah. That's weird. That feels too vague.
But it basically was, like, the last question was implying, don't ask them if they killed anybody. Don't.
Yeah. But it's also kind of like, don't talk to them. Don't.
Well, it's supposed to be like, it was like.
What's the right answer?
There was 3 right answers.
You got one of them?
It kept doing this thing where it was like, pick all the ones that apply, or whatever. I'm pretty sure I aced that shit. Pretty sure I aced the HR training.
It'd be really funny if you
I mean, nobody could ace that shit harder than like a sociopath.
Yeah, that's also the thing is like if you were going to do that stuff, you would still know that it's wrong. I think most people that are doing that, like, it's wrong. You don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And you are trying to get away with it.
Well,
but
there's no answers that are like bend them to your will.
Yeah, but it's just like it's not like on a computer a guy that's going to sexually harass somebody would be like, I pick the grab ass option. Like, no, he'd be like, well, I won't tell him, but maybe I will. You know what I mean? Like I don't think anybody that's actually sexually harassing people ever in their mind is like, I sexually harass people. I think they're like, grabbing ass isn't a problem, but like, I think even if you're looking at a computer screen, that's just asking a question. It's when they're in the moment that they'll act out and do something bad. But if they're being asked the question of like, hey, is it better to grab her tits or say hi? The guy's probably going to be like, well, I'll say hi. Like even And then
there's no question what you do afterwards.
That is true. I mean, that's honestly, I feel like pretty much a pretty basic way of saying how they operate. Of just like, well, you didn't say what happens when you get close to somebody. And it's like, well, you weren't close with them. You just say hi to them at work and you assume that they liked you and then you grab their tits. Like, that's you're wrong. You're delusional. One time we had sexual harassment training at the Comedy Store, and a manager who is no longer there. It was in person. So we were in the main room, which is always very funny to get sexual harassment training in a Hollywood showroom. But we were getting sexual harassment training in person from a real HR person. They came in and they gave us the speech to our faces. And then they walked 5 feet away from the stage. One of our managers, who's no longer there, came up and said, "Did you guys learn anything?" "Probably not." And then everybody laughed. It's like crazy when you're just like, yeah, I guess that training doesn't do anything because our boss just like called it gay. Like, dude, the best was, did I ever tell you about the mass shooting training we had?
No.
It's so sick. I hope they do it again. I hope you get to be a part of it. So like these two guys come in and they were like, yeah, so pretty much if a mass shooter comes in, the guy in the sound booth, what he should do is play loud, crazy music and he should distort the lights. Because I guess if you think about it, if you're trying to commit a mass shooting, if it's very loud and the lights are flipping up and down, then it would be harder to kill people. But
you're just walking like, this is so annoying in here.
Yeah, and then they gave us footballs, a few of us footballs and stuff to throw that I guess were bullets. And so then they were like, okay, so we're going to simulate a mass shooting. So then they said, go. And then the lights started flashing, strobe lights, spotlights going everywhere. Danny in the booth started playing like hardcore punk. Everybody was screaming and I was just like chucking balls at people's heads. And it was like, this is fucking, like, this is the training. Also, the training for employees is like, oh, just get the fuck out.
Yeah.
You don't have to save anybody.
Oh,
which
hell yeah.
Obviously is what anybody would fucking do. I mean, if you're making minimum wage, you're not going to be like, my job is now to save people from a mass shooting.
Yeah.
Which is also, you can't really do that. I mean, if somebody fucking falls in front of you, sure, pick them up. But like, then again, once you're in that moment, you probably wouldn't.
No, I'd step on them. That's
always the thing about people being like, I don't know, like somebody who's like a hero in a situation, it's like, that's cool they did that. They didn't know they were that before that, though.
Yeah.
People being like, oh, if that ever happened, it's like, dude, probably not. Like, you're probably going to flight. You know what I mean? Like, I guess you like to think if you were next to a mass shooter, you'd like punch him in the face. But I don't know. I feel like if you were 2 feet away from a mass shooter, it actually would feel dumb to just run away. Because you'd be like, this guy's going to shoot me. So you might as well just tackle him.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I feel like if he's like pointing an assault rifle, you got a couple seconds to
your
rush
brain's
him.
also probably not thinking logically.
Yeah.
Your brain's is on gun mode.
That's kind of the thing about like, I mean, sure, we should applaud heroes or whatever, but it's also just sort of like, was that even a decision we could say they made? You know what I mean? It's like
dumbass.
I mean, I've talked too much about that book about no free will, but it's just like in that situation, something clicked on and then you acted all that out. And then now you're walking around like, that's who I am. And it's like, I guess so, but in a very core way that you almost can't be proud of because you had nothing to do with it, where it's just, but maybe you can be the most proud of it because it's who you are.
A guy who stopped a mass shooting was at an open mic one night in Nashville. There's a shooting at this Waffle House, and the guy was naked. And so this guy, like, tackled him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the guy showed up to the open mic, and then people started roasting him.
Like calling him gay for tackling a naked guy or something?
Yeah. They called him gay for tackling a naked guy. Some guy was like, I know you with your side bitch, because you were your main bitch, you wouldn't have done that shit.
How did he take it?
I don't know. I wasn't there, but...
Yeah, I'm wondering if he came in thinking everybody would applaud him, and then it was just comedians being like, we don't care.
Yeah.
We do not care.
We want to roast you.
I mean, that's
One
also...
guy said, I work for a tombstone company, and I'm not saying what you did wasn't heroic, but if you let him get another couple people, it would have really helped me out.
Yeah, I mean, fucking one tombstone's got to be like 2 fucking K, all that stone.
Yeah.
Damn. That must be, I mean, I feel like I've heard that joke before. It's a weird thing for a mortician's business. If you're like, business is booming.
Yeah.
Like, oh no. Why? That would be weird if you're the only mortician in like Ulvade or whenever there's like a big mass shooting in like some small town. Are you just like, I wonder if
Cha-ching!
Yeah, you must just have a
Dollar
weird thought of
signs.
like, damn, that's horrible. I'm going to have a lot of fucking work to do. Like, I'm the only guy. I got like 12 kids coming in. Holy
Yeah.
shit. I mean, you would have to be a complete sociopath to be hyped because you have to deal with the bodies. So even then you'd have to be like, money, money, money. Like, it would be tough.
Yeah. Well, some of those morticians are probably getting hard. They find out that many bodies are coming in.
I wonder how, I feel like morticians is always a family business. It just seems so odd to just choose that.
There's a Bianchi, there's Bianchi monuments in around the Pittsburgh area, because when my great grandfather, when he got here, that's what his family did. They made tombstones.
So
And I think maybe it was also like like funeral homes too.
wait, by monuments, do you mean tombstones made by Bianchis, or you mean like statues dedicated to members of your family?
No, like literally tombstones.
Oh, okay.
Like they made tombstones.
Yeah. So if you go around that area, you could look at a tombstone and be like, that's us.
Yes.
Yeah. That'd be funny if they sign it at the bottom.
Yeah.
Like, who's this guy? No, I'm the guy that made it. I'm actually the only mortician that signs his tombstones.
People are always like, "Oh, you're related to the bike stuff," and it's like, "Nah, we're more into the tombstone."
The
business.
bike?
There's like a Bianchi bike,
Oh.
which I didn't know about until people started being like, "Oh, Bianchi, like the bike."
And you're like, no.
No, like the tombstone.
Yeah, like the
those signed
tombstones.
tombstones in Pennsylvania.
Like the cool, the flame tombstones, the ones with flames on them. That's us.
Yeah, that's our ass.
So you said you came to Pittsburgh first, your family.
Yeah.
Huh. And you came from Italy?
Yeah.
Do you know what part of Italy?
No, I don't. I could check. Probably.
You should find out. It'd be cool if you're like Sicilian, if you're from like the dirty part of the boot. It's like cool to
I
be.
think we might be. I think because Sicilian was what I immediately like thought, but I'm not 100% sure.
But I don't know. I feel like you have a bit of a Roman face, so you could be north. I don't know. You should find that out. It could be fun.
I don't know where my mom's they also came from Italy. My mom's dad also, they came from Italy.
Do you know where her mom's from?
No. Well, so my nana, her mom was like 1/8 black, I think. Something like that.
So you're like,
I'm like 132 black.
nice.
Yeah. But they
A
were
32
like,
special.
her mom was like, so I think if you go back to slave times, there was like a slave, and then I guess she fucked a white dude. Well, fucked is not the right word in this situation.
Somebody in your family,
Yeah.
we can't say the word on YouTube, but they did that to a slave.
They did it to a
So
slave.
your family had slaves.
One half of it.
One half of it.
We're related to the ones that are the slaves. We're like, that's closer to my family is the ones that were slaves and the ones that owned it. Because the ones that
Well, wouldn't you just be equally related?
No, I mean technically, but I mean like the baby of the slave, like we're closer to that because like that they impregnate a slave, they're not going to be like chilling with them.
Oh, so you mean like the slave owners? But what happened to the slave owners' other just white kids with their white wife? What happened to those?
I don't know. We only really know about.
I mean, they're not you. That's where the family. So the child of the slave.
That's
eventually is in your mom's side of the family, and then they and their descendants found your father.
Yeah.
Okay. I see what you mean now. Okay, that's,
My grandfather. So, okay, so we didn't know for a long time. It was because the one that was mixed race, the daughter of the slave,
yes.
she on her marriage certificate, she listed herself as Native American. Because think it was just easy. I think it was easier.
She could pass as that?
Yes, she could pass as Native American.
Yeah, that's what I do.
And then she married a white man, and then they had kids, and then it's my great grandmother.
I wonder what happened to
Wait, yeah, maybe. Okay, so my great grandmother, I don't remember if it was her mom or her grandmother that were from the mixed.
Interesting. That is very interesting. That you're not the descendants of the white children.
Yeah.
You're the descendants of a tragedy.
Yes.
But, I guess if you want to be on any side, you don't want to be on the we own slave side. You're on half of us own slave, but half of us were.
Yes.
So there's that.
Yeah, there is that.
So there's that too. Yous was kings.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty crazy. I'm a slave right now.
Yeah, slave to the money.
Mm-hmm. To the game. This SRT music.
Yeah. So anyway, if we've learned anything from this podcast, I'm like, I don't know, something like 132 black or something.
Shane's a black guy.
I'm a black man.
That's pretty much all it is. He's a black man from Nashville.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in. I think this was a great episode.
Yeah, and I've been tired the whole time.
Me too, but I think it was good. I think we had a chill-ass episode. I think we had a lot.
After-hours episode.
This was great.
Yeah.
This was. If you didn't like this, you're wrong. This was great.
And you're racist.
And you're racist.
You're racist, transphobic, also all that stuff.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.